I've had it all, chucked it all away, and I'm going to regain it all. Again and again and again.
I had a good childhood because I was in like a countryside, so we were always running around in the fields, building tree houses and building dens and smashing things up and all that, as kids do. And then when I got to about 13, 14, I wanted to box. That was all I wanted to do. Yeah, my dad, it was just something that I'd loved. Like, my dad influenced it because he was a boxer, but he didn't really encourage it at all. Like, he said, like, oh, boxing's not for you. Like, you're not a good game. Because he was just an opponent. Yeah. And he had it hard, like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have a proper manager or nothing and all that. And he just, like, he always advised us not to do it. But I always loved it. Like, we used to go to the car boot sale around the back of us. It used to be like a big field every Sunday. And I'd go there, me and my little brother Shane, and we'd be looking for, like, boxing videotapes. And we used to come back and watch them and study them and try and copy the moves. And then we'd get my dad's old sparring gloves out. He had one pair, so we'd have one glove on each. And then we'd have like a dishcloth wrapped around our other hands. And we'd be sparring in the kitchen and smashing things up. My dad would be going nuts. Yeah, proper having it. He's big as me, Shane. He's he's 6'6" and like 25 stone. So we used to have it all the time. And we grew up dreaming about boxing. We used to like design our own boxing kits, drawings and stuff. As little kids and all, I'm going to wear this when I'm a world champion and I'm going to do that ring walk. And you've seen all the crazy stuff I do. Yeah. But that's been planned for years. Like as kids, we used to draw them and think about what we were going to do and all that. That's basically for me. Like I've done so many crazy things over the years. Dressing up as Batman, I always wanted to do that. And coming out as Apollo Creed.
At that moment though, at that moment you did it. At like the biggest moments you do it.
Yeah, because if you're boxing in, I don't know, Preston somewhere at a local show, it's not really a time to do it, is it? You need big events to do that sort of thing. So every big event like Vegas or big world title fights, then I do crazy ring walks and things. See me though, I'm a very unusual character when it comes to the boxing game. I'm nervous that I'm not nervous in the changing room. I get all sleepy and things like that. I'm not even interested. Like, oh, you're going to be fighting the world's biggest puncher, aren't you? Oh yeah, am I? Cheers. Give us knock in half an hour when I'm ready. But sometimes I think it's bad that I don't get butterflies and nervous and really up for it. When I fought Wilder last time, I was so lackadaisical going to the ring. I walked to it on a throne thing and I wasn't really awake. And he cracked me with a right hand in round 1 or round 2 and I thought, right, shit, let's go. It's something very natural because my brothers, they boxed and pros and things and they were all nervous about. It's not about getting punched in the face. It's about performing to your ability, isn't it? But I know if I've trained hard and I've ate right and done everything right, then I know that's all I can do. My outlook on sport is very simple. I sacrifice my whole life. And when I'm in training camps for 8-10 weeks, I don't even drink a can of pop. I won't even have a Diet Coke or nothing. It's just eat, sleep, training. And I won't go out. I won't stay out late. I'll go to bed every night, 8-9 o'clock. I'll wake up early. I'll do exactly what the nutritionist tells me to do. And I won't break anything. There's not one thing more I could sacrifice while I'm in a training camp. I don't tell myself it, but because I automatically know that I've not cut any corners. Yeah. And I know, right, that if I go into a big fight, one of these guys, and he beats me, then obviously I'm not good enough. Because I know that I put in that much work and I've sparred the best and I've done everything that I possibly can. So if I lose to a better man on the night, I'll shake his hand and say, fair play, pal, you're a good fighter. But they don't have that attitude because they want to make excuses why they lost or this was wrong, that was wrong. I've hurt my foot, I've hurt my leg. I've had a bad training camp. And they can't face reality of what's happened. And that's it. But I've never lost a fight. I don't think I'll ever lose a fight. No, I don't think I will. I don't think there's nobody out there to beat me. They're all businessmen like Deontay Wilder, Anthony, whoever is in this era that I'm in. They're all about business. They're all about making money. They're all about doing other business ventures and being celebrities on telly. I want to be a movie star. I want to be this, I want to be that. And I'm just the same old G sitting here in Morecambe drinking me coffee. I don't really care about all that sort of stuff, business and whatever. But I suppose, like, I come from like a business background. I was earning money at 12 years old. So for them, it's new. But for me, it's something that I've done all my life.
That takes their hunger away. And
I think so, yeah, because they don't really care. I've seen it lately of a lot of fighters. They're doing it for money. They want to just keep getting that paycheck. But for me, if I wasn't 100% focused on what I'm going to do, then I wouldn't want to go in there for any amount of money because it doesn't mean that much to me. Listen, I know loads of people. I know billionaires and I know millionaires and I know people who ain't got all. And the most unhappy people are the richest ones. That's a fact. That's true.
You-
So all you people out there, yeah, listen to that. I've got billionaire mates and they're very unhappy. They're never happy. If they found 100 grand on the floor, they wouldn't make them happy. They'd be looking for the next one because enough is never enough. They're always chasing more. And no matter what they achieve, they're always trying to go again and try and make more. But for me, I'm happy. I'd be happy if I lived in a council flat up there in a tower block. I don't really care because I don't need a flash house or a flash car for someone to like me. If they don't like me, then boom. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm not optimistic that the fight will ever happen, to be fair. He talks a good game, but is he really a fighting man? I'm not really too sure. After his last performance where he got stopped by a little fat kid, I'm not sure that he could even... Anyway, the talk was me and Joshua were going to fight. No contracts were signed or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, Deontay Wilder's put on an arbitration against me from a top judge and all the best lawyers in America. So I can't do anything about that. If you want to bring a court case against me in America, and even if I've not done anything, I've got to defend it or else I'm guilty. That's how it works. So I said, all right, then let's do it. So they want to go to court and they want to fight for his rematch, and his contract had expired because of the COVID. Yeah. But to be honest with you, fair is fair, and I'm a fair man myself. And if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd want my third fight because it wasn't really my fault or Wilder's fault why the rematch never happened. It was just the world got turned on its head and it didn't happen because of the COVID. So all of a sudden we're in court now and he won the case. The judge said, look, fair's fair, give the lad his rematch. And that's it. So there's not much I could even do about that.
Would you?
No, it's not the belt. It's contracted to me. So it's got nothing to do with the belt. So I could go out with the belt, bang. And all of a sudden, then me and Wilder's fighting for no belt against each other. Yeah. Do you know how much the suing case was if I don't fight him? $80 million. I'd have to speak to one of them unhappy millionaires, wouldn't I? Yeah, but listen, there's all sorts of stuff goes on behind the scenes, and I was never very optimistic about that AJ fight happening because this was always going on in the background, and they knew all that. Eddie Hearn knew it, Joshua knew it, they all knew it. But all of a sudden, it's my fault. I don't want to fight because I'm a shithouse. Please. I fight him on here and I'd flatten him. I don't mind him. He's done really well.
Do you speak to him?
I've spoke to him lots of times.
Yeah.
We used to phone each other on FaceTime and all that.
Look, FaceTime him now.
He don't answer the phone to me no more.
Come on, let me go.
While I was in America recently, he was Instagramming me, voice messages and that.
Okay.
I'm going to smash your face in. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I said, okay, do what you want. I don't really care. For them, it's like I say, it's about getting a few quid and doing what they got to do, which I respect. But I don't think the fight will happen. We've been trying to do this fight since we was 22 years old. I don't think any prize fighters, if you're getting paid a ton of money to fight and it's what you do, was you scared of going and having a game of football?
No, but we had to play everybody.
I know. And that's how it works. But the problem is, boxing's a bit different to football because if you lose a game, it don't really matter. But when these fighters, they lose a fight and then lose another one, whatever, it's game over for them.
Yeah.
So they can make good money fighting Joe Bloggs, or they can make double or treble fighting me, but then they've lost and then they can't go again. So they fight 2 or 3 people and get the same amount. Yeah. And that's how they do it. But to be honest, see me, right? I had 3 years out of the ring. I was on drugs and alcohol every day. I was fat as I was 28 stone, yeah? And I come back and in 6 months I fought Deontay Wilder. And at the time he was the most feared knockout artist in the history of our sport. And I said, right, the fat bald man will fight you because all the rest of them won't because you keep going back and forward, this, that and the other. A side, B side, money, this, that and the other. I said, I'll fight. All of a sudden I've gone in there and absolutely battered him. And everyone's like, oh, well, is that what it was all about? They don't want to fight prime. Like Joshua's fought not one heavyweight in his prime. Like he fought Klitschko at 42 years old, Pulev 40 odd, Povetkin 40 odd. They're all like former good men back in the early 2000s, late 2000s, but not in 2020 odd. They were good men 10 years ago. How can you have me now if I've got a rematch with Wilder? And the big thing is as well, right, I tell you what they always do, and he already fell victim to it, Joshua. They talk about fights that's not happening. Like everybody wants to talk to me about the Joshua fight. Yeah. They don't care about the fight that I'm having. And all of a sudden, they want me to look over what I'm doing and then get chinned. And all of a sudden, I'm laid on my back flat by Wilder and he's taking my position.
Money?
One clear thing, $30 million. That's what he wants. Again, listen, he wants a chance to avenge his loss as well. Yeah. His only loss. And he knows he's got a massive punch, so he could end the fight in one punch.
Is it a massive punch?
Yeah, yeah. I've been boxing all my life and I'd never heard of this. knockout power weight touches you and you fall over. And I wasn't convinced about the power of the Alabama Slammer, the 40 odd knockouts in a row.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, it must be a gimmick. Got to be. I wasn't bothered about the power anyway. I thought Klitschko had 60 odd knockouts, and it didn't even affect me. So I gets in there, I'm thinking, okay, jab, 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 jab. I'm thinking, this is easy. This can't be right. It must be in a dream. All of a sudden, I went to block a jab, and I felt his knuckle go right through my hand. It nearly broke my hand, and I went, shit, I better not get hit by that. If that's the jab, what's the right hand going to be like? And he really does have the power where you don't feel it. You can get punched in the face, and you see a blue flash, it hurts you. But then you've got real dynamite punches like Wilder. Is like it just switches you off like a light switch. I got dropped in round 9 with him in the first fight, and he just like touched me at the back of the head. It was sort of there, like a left up there. And I just opened my eyes and I was on the floor and I thought, shit, right, get up. You're obviously down, because you don't know, because your brain's been rattled. You don't realise what's happened. And then you get up, and then in round 12, he hit me with a right hand, and that was it. I opened my eyes and I saw a referee going 4. I thought, get up now, idiot. You've been dropped again. And that was it. I just rushed to my feet and got up. When you get hit by a proper puncher, you don't know what's happened because you don't see it coming. It's like someone going from behind you and hitting you in the face and you don't know what's happened. You couldn't say it was him or him because you didn't see it. And that's what happens when you get clipped proper off a dynamite. And that's what Wilder's got. But I don't know if it was the effect of me losing 10 stone and then fighting him in 6 months period, which would affect anybody. Because in the second fight, I took his best punches clean, like big rights on the jaw in round 2, and it never even affected me. I walked right through him. But maybe because I'd had another 18 months on top of the first fight. So I don't know if he really is that big a puncher, but we'll find out anyway in October. I've just had a month off, and I think it's been the best thing I've done in the last 3 or 4 years, because I'm really like hungry to be back in the gym and want to fight again. So I almost know what not to do now, if that makes sense. I know not to have so long without doing anything and giving myself any mental stimulation where I don't train or do anything. Where before, it was like I'd conquered the world and it was nothing else I wanted to do. That was it. Yeah. My dream from being a little kid was to beat Klitschko. When I was only young, Klitschko was a world champion, so I was always looking at him. Yeah. And then when I'd completed it, it was game over for me. I didn't want to continue. Plus, I was mentally unstable. Like going into that fight, I was very depressed and down and anxious. And I always had that goal of beating Klitschko that kept me on the straight and narrow path. But after that goal was taken away from me, I had nothing else that I could focus on to give me that drive. And it was just like total downward spiral, and I just didn't want to live anymore. I was happy to die at 27. I was happy to finish. That was it. Nothing or nobody could bring me back. Not my wife and kids, didn't care about nothing. Every day I woke up, I just wanted to die. It's a crazy way to be, but only people who understand, like, who's been through depression and all that sort of stuff will understand what I'm saying. And when you're so down and every day you wake up, even if it's sunshine and it's grey and you're negative all the time, and you're infectious, you infect people who are around you, make them negative and down, and you push everybody away and just want to be left alone, like in a dark corner and left alone. But my problem is I was eating as well, comfort eating. So I was just getting heavier and heavier and more down and depressed and down. And I never thought that I'd ever return to boxing or anything like that. The furthest I thought I'd ever go if I didn't die was padded room.
What was you like at home with your wife at that time?
Terrible, non-existent. I'd go out for days on end drinking.
What would she do? Was she ringing you?
She'd be ringing me. I'd switch my phone off and they'd be thinking, right, he's killed himself now. He's gone. And they'd be phoning around everywhere. Looking for me. Have you seen Tyson? I can't get hold of him for 2 days and I think he's killed himself, because I was always like, this is the day I'm going to kill myself. And I even attempted it as well one day, and it wasn't good. It wasn't a good time in my life. It was just dark, lonely, horrible place, and I never want to go back to, ever.
Your wife must be tough as well as you, though.
Oh, she's tough. To put up with somebody like me is hard work. Imagine being married to Jack the Lad from being 20-year-old at 18, 19. Handsome boy, Reg, a load of big curly hair, up and down, British heavyweight champion at 21. It's like, it's hard work. You go out, you got all hot women chucking themselves at you and all that sort of stuff. It's madness, especially if you've had a couple of drinks. If I've had a couple of drinks, then I have to have somebody with me to control me. And I'll be honest about that. I've drunk 18, 19 pints on a night out, but don't forget at that time I was drinking regular. I was a professional drinker, and I was 26 to 7 stone, 28 stone, so I could take a lot of drink. But now Like, I had 2 bottles of Heineken the other day and I was absolutely bladdered. Yeah, I'm all right, but I prefer to go out with other people, like me, someone like my brothers and that, because they can say, right, that's enough now, let's go home. Where me, I'm one of them people, if I've had 6 or 7 beers, I want to go out then. I won't come back till 5 in the morning. Yeah, I was drinking on my own. Manchester, Morecambe, anywhere. I'd burnt all my mates out. They'd gone back to work. I was there still going, still drinking every day. It was horrible. See me though, when I've had a few beers, it's like home don't exist. I live in that moment, if that makes sense. It doesn't matter that I've got to go to the gym tomorrow. I've got a big business meeting in London. It's all off. All bets are off. 28 stone.
28 stone?
Yeah. Lost it all within 7 months and fought again. So the mentality of coming back, I was in that low place for like 2.5 years. And one night I was out, Halloween night, I was having a few drinks. And I must have come sane for a little minute. And I looked around me and I thought, what the am I doing here? I was in a Wetherspoons in Morecambe. Yeah. On my own. On Halloween night. I just had a big argument with the missus and I looked around me and all I could see was like young kids. What felt like to me, they were all in school, like college kids and all that. And I thought, you know what? You're a married man. You've had the world in your hand. You've chucked it all away. For what, you daft bastard? Get home now. That was like a voice in my mind. And I put the beer down like that. And I got out of there and it was only about 7:30. I went back home and went upstairs and I got on my knees and I was just crying. And I started praying to God. I said, I can't do this anymore. Like I tried to come back training, but I had no motivation. After 2 days, I was back in a depression. And when I got up after about half an hour, it felt like it was an eternity, but it was only a few minutes. I felt like I'd had the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. And I said to Paris, right, tomorrow, I'm going to start the regain mission. I'm going to become heavyweight champion of the world again. She didn't believe me because I'd done this every time I got drunk. I'm going to start training on Monday. That's it. I've had enough now. But it never lasted. Got to Wednesday and I was back in the pub. Next morning I got up, got my sweatsuit on. And I thought I was going to jog like a mile at 28 stone. And I got out on the road and my back was killing me. So I started walking and I was flicking down on Instagram. And I saw Deontay Wilder. And he'd done a video saying, I saw Tyson Fury at a boxing event recently. He's shadow of his former glory. He's fat as anything. He'll never come back. I give up the hope now of ever fighting him. And I thought, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you that I am the best in this division. And at the time, there was a lot of back and forth with him and Anthony Joshua were going to fight each other, and they wasn't. One wanted X amount, this, that, and the other, and it wasn't happening. They had like 16 months of back and forward, and they couldn't agree a deal. So I phoned up my lawyer. I said, look, I started training again. I said, I'm 28 stone, and I'm going to come back. Nobody believed me, and then I started training every day, and I got the weight down gradually. I phoned up Frank Warren. I said, look, Frank, I think I'm going to make a return. He said, are you serious? I said, yeah. He said, right, I'll get you on in June. And it was like December now. So I had 6 months to try and lose 10 stone. And I went into camp and started training again and getting a bit of sparring in and all that sort of stuff. And then I got down to like 19 stone 10 and I had my first fight in Manchester. And we sold it out and had my first fight back after just under 3 years. And it was named He's Back, Return of the Mac. And then I had another fight a few months later in Belfast. At that time, Wilder was at ringside, screaming and shouting, and then we ended up having and getting it on. And it was exactly from, I had my first fight back June the 15th, and I fought Deontay Wilder that same year on December the 1st. So it wasn't even 6 months, was it, of being back after 3 years out the ring. And he still couldn't beat me then. When I was really down, I used to speak to this guy, and he diagnosed me with bipolar disorder and all sorts of other stuff. And after a while, I thought, you know what, I feel all right. But even when I had my first fight back, not a lot of people know this, but I used to sleep with the light on because I couldn't be in the dark alone. I don't know what was going to happen. It was going to come into me, like 7 foot and 30 stone. But I don't know what was happening.
Because of fear?
Just like anxiety problems. Like anxiety, I don't know if you've ever had anxiety. I had an anxiety attack and I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was dying. I thought I was definitely going to die and I didn't die. I'm thinking, I'm not dying. What's going on? I'm having a heart attack. Yeah. And it was just like the most feeling of terror and fear I've ever felt. And I used to get it quite regularly. And it wasn't for this, that it was like this person or this was going to happen to me, but it's like whatever your worst nightmares are, they come to reality in an anxiety attack.
Do you still get them now?
I've not had an anxiety attack since that day.
Well, why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I think because I got back training and I gave myself a goal, a motivation to do something again. And once I set my mind to something, then I always achieve it. no matter what. Like, nothing can ever sidetrack me or put me off path for achieving what I set my mind to. Like, every goal I've ever done from being a little kid, I've always achieved. Never once did I never hit the mark that I set. But it's always been an astronomical goal. And I also spoke to Robbie Williams about this, and it happened to him as well. And he come up with a thing, it's called Paradise Syndrome. You put your full life into something, and when you reach that unreachable goal, it's like, is this it now?
Yeah.
Like, and then that's it then. And he had the same, he had like years and years of abusing himself and whatever else. I didn't know what was happening to me until I got to like 29. And I've been dealing with like anxiety, especially from being a little kid, like maybe 8, 9 years old. I didn't really know what it was. I thought like I was being left alone, and it was just horrible growing up with it. If you had your arm chopped off, then people could see it and they know you've got a proper injury. But with you being mentally unwell, you can't see in someone's brain. So I could be here now and I look okay, but I could be hearing voices in my mind, or I could be going back and forth with my own self. I don't know. It's one of the worstest things that I've ever experienced, like being punched in the face or grueling training or whatever has happened to me in my life. Nothing could ever compare with mental health struggle. Muhammad Ali, I always used to watch him in his movement and all that, and I wanted to be a heavyweight champion. So I used to watch and study and try and copy what he did. Most treasure. Probably my Bible. I've had this Bible that my uncle got me about 14, 15 years ago, that wherever home I go to, I take it with me and I put it on the side. I'm not going to lie and say I read it every day, because I don't. But it's always there. It's in my bedside table now. And if the house burnt down, as long as all the kids were out there and my wife was out, I'd probably grab that and all. The best piece of advice I've ever been given is stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble, because it's very easy to get in trouble and so hard to get out of it. So always stay away from trouble. Not a bad bit of advice, is it? Because I live for today. And whatever's happened in the past, I leave there. I don't even go back and watch fights that I've had, ever. I don't relive the past at all, because it's gone. I know I can't get it back. And I'm almost obsessed with time. I've got a real obsession with the way it evaporates and the way that 1 minute we're here and in a minute it'll be like, when I done that interview with Tyson, it was like 3 years ago, and it'll go like that, bang. And I've really got an obsession with time, so I live for now. Tomorrow, not promised to nobody. Yesterday can never get back. So today, I enjoy today and I live for today. I'm happy just to live in the moment. Like years ago, everyone say like, what superpower would you have? Have you had that question? And I used to say, right, I'd have the ability to control time, because I've always been obsessed with time. But now I don't want that anymore, because I'm happy letting God control time. I just want to live in time. I don't want to control it. Don't live forever. What I say I want to be sounds very simple, but it's probably the hardest thing that can ever exist. I just want to be happy. And that's probably the hardest thing that we can ever find. And like, I've always struggled finding happiness, no matter, even in my happiest moments, I struggled finding that happy place. And that's all I ever want to achieve, is to be happy. So yeah, it's like you could be doing anything you want, like wherever you want in the world. Do you actually take it in and think, I'm actually really happy now doing this? This is my happiest moment. And do I want to keep doing this every day, because then I won't be happy doing it? But I think I'm at my most happiest when I'm training. I don't even have to have a fight coming up. Just doing a bit of training, ticking over, and everything's okay at home. I think like, if you're in a relationship or whatever, if you're happy at home, then you'll be happy at work. I'm very happy at home, yeah. I've got a stable background at home now with the kids and with Paris and that. And as long as I can keep it good at home, everything else runs smooth. My biggest mentor in my career is probably my wife. Because without her, then I probably would have went AWOL a long time ago. I've been AWOL anyway, plenty of times, but I've always had that loving wife relationship, sort of the backbone. She explains it to some people as, I'm the head, but she's the neck. And without a neck, you've got no head, have you? So yeah, I think she's my biggest single mentor I've ever had. Been together from being like 15 and 16 years old. She stuck by me through that much bullshit. I've not been the best husband in the world. I've been far from it. I've not been the best person in the world. I've been far from it. But I'm happy that I'm back on track and everything's running smooth again. And to get a woman who's been with you all that time and gone through the bullshit and the good times and the bad times and being down and depressed and an alcoholic and a druggie for years, and to still be there when you don't want to be, and when you're being forced away and when you're being pushed out, that takes a very strong individual. And like I say, without having that person, then I probably, one, I'd be dead anyway. I know that for a fact. And two, if I wasn't dead, I wouldn't have that stable background. I'd be up and down, flying up and down Miami or wherever I'd be. I don't know. I can't envision where I'd be if I never had that stable home life. And it's what's kept me going all these years, I reckon. To have somebody who's there for me and who knows me inside out from being a little kid. Because at 15 and 16, you are children, aren't you? We've had all that time together, sort of grew up together as well. So she knows me better than anybody in the world.